Peace, Chiefs, and Deers. It's Bronzebird with another video. Before I begin, like and subscribe. So today's video is going to be more of a very serious topic that I want to give to you guys attention. And I really think we do need to speak about things like this as we see the paradigm shifting in our society before our eyes. And that I would like to say that a lot of things in this society is happening on a level where it starts to become perverse. And with it becoming perverse and, perversifying children or whatever have you, they're teaching these children all these boundaries that needs to be set for them, and then trying to say that we are wrong for calling it out or saying we're being on some type of different opposing side from them because we don't agree with what's happening with our children. Now, this is the thing. Before I begin, and I'm going to say this quite seriously to you guys so you guys understand me. The reason I make these Vet Thy Children series is because I want to paint the picture of helping out parents or want to be parents make better decisions about how they're rearing their children in this society. I can give you the awareness out the world even if I don't have children, or even if I know people who do have children, because I see something going on in our society. And a lot of the times it gets escaped under the issue. We don't really talk about it, or we really don't make a big deal about it on a national scale as we should, because we don't think it's something that is really important, or we go along with the liberal ideologies that's set in stone in this society. The progression issues, the progressive issues. And with that being said, my thing about it is when you see men like this, because this is going to get into a video about a man who's going to go to jail for engaging in pedophilic acts with a 4- and 6-year-old at a daycare center that he was working at. We really have to make sure, and we really have to check out and make the connection, or see if there's anything going on in these events, right? We have to make sure that we get the reviews on places like this. If this guy knows somebody's criminal background history, learn who they are. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to make sure your child is being educated the best way they know how. And I'm not going to say that, you have to do a big old detail, but it does help before you put your child in the daycare or you put your child in the school. You look at the reviews for that daycare, or you look at the reviews for that school. Because we also have to touch on a factor, and I know a lot of people like this. I know a lot of people who know like this. There's a lot of people that will talk about their childhood. There's a lot of people who have a lot of psychological issues that stem from their childhood that extends into their adulthood. And the thing about it is they don't know at first where it comes from. They don't understand why they act the way they act. And then they might have a lot of trauma, or they might have a lot of things that they're dealing with into their adulthood that they're trying to fix or forget. And my thing about it is that if we can make the change in this world to make a difference for the future generation, that'll help out in a lot more ways than one. So with this video, I'm going to let it play, do a little bit of commentary this time, but I'm going to let it roll. So peep.
Mr. McConvicted of or pleaded guilty to a sexually oriented child victim offense. As such, you will be a Tier 3 registrant for your lifetime with in-person verification every 90 days. Failure to register, failure to verify residence at the specified times, or failure to provide notice of a change in resident address or other required information as described above will result in criminal prosecution. This court is so sick and tired of seeing adults ruin and abuse children. These are literally just one step from being babies. They come to a daycare, those parents struggle so that when they release their children to someone during the day, they have some semblance that that child is going to be protected and safe. Not let alone 2 of their children being raped by your own admission, sir.
And to be on a serious note, is just the idea of trust that rings in my head before I continue this video. These people are trusting you with their children. And for you to do something like that says a lot about your characteristics, sir.
For sexual gratification, you violated a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I do not know at this time what the total ramifications will be for those 2 young children, but there isn't anybody who doesn't understand now the developmental phases of children take place from 0 to 6 years old.
And with that being said, that is exactly what I said earlier about how a lot of the things that happen in a person's childhood can affect them for the rest of their life or their development into when they get into their teenage years and their adult years.
You can't even know what damages you've done for sexual gratification. This to me is so mind-boggling that you used and abused 2 little children like they're inconsequential beings. Those are human persons with human dignity. The mere fact that they're small little people that can't fight off adults, that's why an adult left them with adults. I'm going to tell you something, Mr. McFadden. There's no free rapes in my courtroom. On count 1, I'm sending you to prison for 11 years. On count 4, I'm sending you to prison for 11 years. They will be consecutive to each other for a total of 22 years. You have 32 days jail credit. At this time, the court finds it necessary to protect the public from future crimes, to punish the offender, and to find that consecutive sentences are not disproportionate to the seriousness of the offender's conduct and to the danger the offender poses to the public. Folks, if you see it, you smell it, you know it's happening, you report it. These are little children that are the future. I hate to sound so cliche, but the children are our future, and if we're destroying them, we have no future. And this ends in this courtroom. That'll be all. Fines and costs are waived.
There's another video I'm going to play after this when talking about the daycare, but I've understood that there is this thing taking place in this new term that's supposed to be relative to the LGBTQ community, in which there still is a lot of backlash from the members themselves in the LGBTQ community. They say that it's called LGBTP, in which P stands for pedosexuality or pedosexual, which is the legal term of saying that someone that is an adult has an attraction to children. They may not want to act upon that type of fantasy or type of attraction, but it's just the mere fact that they are admitting that they are attracted to children. My idea of it at the end of the day, yes, they may say that they may not want to actually have sex with a child or engage in some type of relationship with children, but at the same time, those are thoughts you should keep to yourself. Shouldn't even be labeling yourself a pedosexual, let alone have the idea of wanting to have an attraction towards a child. In my opinion, you know, as an adult, you need to be attracted to people around your age. Children will be attracted to children. That's the name of the game. But this whole entire thing of trying to make a differentiation between a pedosexual and a pedophile, I don't see no glaring windows when it comes to it. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. And I think that a lot of people in this society is trying to make it okay and trying to say that if a child goes ahead willingly with a pedosexual, what would be the grayscale area in that? We don't know. But at the same time, I will blame the adult 100% that dares to take actions against a child that could mess them up for the rest of their life. And because men like this, we need to see men like this rotting in prison and don't even get out a day later. If it was up to me, you'd have life. And that's my opinion, because you raped them. But I'm going to play another video where we're also talking about these daycare centers and, you know, them perversifying these children or trying to moderate or modify the behavior of these children and trying to say it was nothing but wrong with what they did. And this is why I say again that parents or want to be parents need to do background information on these daycares and these schools that you're sending your child to. And that with that being said, that anytime your child says something happened in school, listen to them, understand it, and if it's that serious, do what you got to do to take matters into your own hands. Shout outs to AmmoMama.com.
Yeah, she called me and told me that she had an issue up here about my grandson being in a dress. I mean, I'm trying to see what the issue is about that.
Okay, you'll have to talk to Dara.
Who's
She's the
Dara?
director. She's down in the other classroom.
Is she the one that was in charge of the kids while my grandson?
I was, but I can't talk to you.
Why?
Because you're not on the form. So we'll have to get Dara up here and see if she will let you. Talk to you about it.
I mean, first of all, I'm coming down here because we don't do that. The transgender and all that. We don't do that.
I understand. I don't need.
And I don't appreciate you encouraging him to put on no dress for the second day too. I don't appreciate that. And don't think this is going away. I'm going further with this.
And the thing about it is that if you guys seen on social media, I don't know if you did, there was a video of a little boy that was 9 or 10 years old. Even though this situation is different, the boy was 2. But there was a situation on social media where they had a child that was saying that he wasn't a boy, that he was a trans girl, and that he was cross-dressing at that age. And they had these drag queens have him twerk and have him do stripper stuff at a Brooklyn nightclub. And that they had these little boys twerking at the gay pride parade. And look, listen, this is not about railing against the LGBTQ community. This is about exposing an action from grown-ass men that think it's okay to have these little boys cross-dress and try to tell them and convince them they could be a different gender or be a different sexuality when they don't know anything about that yet. And with this is a case right here. You have this young lady, this woman right here who's trying to claim, like, trying to be all nonchalant and passive aggressive about it. Come on, man.
With this.
Okay, you can go down and talk.
No, I'm not done talking to you. I'm letting you know the next time that you put any kid in a dress, we're gonna make you go viral.
Okay, you need to go talk to my director because I, as a teacher.
No, I'm letting you know I got an issue with you about that. I'm not playing with you.
She's trying to avoid
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you feel that way. But you should have called me before you made the decision to put my grandson in a dress.
Okay, you can speak to the.
No, I'm speaking to you.
Please do not talk to me in that tone with my children.
I wouldn't be up here if you wouldn't have put my grandson in no dress.
Again.
Well, do what you got to
Take it up with Miss
do.
Dara.
No, I'm taking it up with you.
Please lower your voice. You're in a classroom.
I'm taking it up with you. Well, you shouldn't have put my grandson in no dress.
And I'm sorry, before this video ends, I have a problem with a woman, that teacher that's sitting there that knows she's dead ass wrong for what she's doing. And she's sitting up there saying, oh, lower your tone when you're speaking to me while my children is here. No, you're wrong, miss. Admit that you're wrong. What is the problem with these people, man? Admit that you're wrong. You don't put no goddamn boy in no damn dress. What the hell is wrong with you? And this is why I would say to that brother before I end this video, or before this video ends, if that start happening the second day, I'm going to start looking for different daycare centers to send my child. It might be tough when it comes to cash or economics, but I damn sure am not going to allow my child to stay in that goddamn daycare center and that woman is doing that to these children, especially that little boy.
Dress.
These two.
This ain't over with, all right?
And the thing that hurts me the most, what she just said, is that he's 2. It doesn't make a difference. You are not allowed to dress somebody else's child and all this other stuff without the consent of somebody else. And therefore, the child's mother and father should be the only ones that's allowed to just dress their children, not you. Now, this last video I'm going to show you guys is going to give into my theory about the pedo thing. This is a very sensitive topic of conversation. And, there's been a lot of TED Talks that came along with this to kind of differentiate what's the difference between a pedophile and a pedosexual. And in this video right here, they're going to touch on it a little lightly, but I'm only going to play about 5 minutes of this video. So peep.
Let me tell you about Jonas. Jonas is 19 years old. He studies law in Munich. In his spare time, he likes to play soccer. Jonas has a secret which he thinks he cannot share with anyone, not even with his best friend or with his parents. He's just too afraid of anger, rejection, and repulsion. Jonas knows that he has to suppress his sexual drive for his entire life. And he also knows that there will never be a loving and fulfilling partnership that he can enter. Because Jonas is a pedophile. He's only attracted to female children between the ages of 6 and 12 years. But since he's aware of the consequences for the children, he has never given in to his sexual drive. What is pedophilia?
And I'm really trying to understand that type of victim play role that's going here with what this woman is saying about that 19-year-old. I'm really trying to understand it because there is no Brinks. Now, we can't sit up there and say, oh, he's a horrible scum of the earth because he didn't act upon his rages, act upon his wannabe, thinking about little girls from the ages of 6 to 12. Is it still wrong? Yes. Should he keep it to himself? Yes. I don't believe in saying any of that. Never be open with those type of conversation. And it's a gray line because I'm not allowing it, I'm not accepting it, and I'm not saying anything to it. But to understand that he proudly calls himself a pedophile, that is a red light for me, being completely serious.
And what is it not? In the ICD-10, the International Classification System for Illnesses, pedophilia is coded as the sexual preference for pre-adolescent children. It is listed under the sexual disorders. Whether the persistent occurrence of
as it should be
sexual thoughts and feelings for pre-adolescent children have been acted upon or not is not relevant to the diagnosis. Like every other sexual orientation, pedophilia can have different characteristics. For example, it can be heterosexual, it can be homosexual, bisexual. Some pedophiles are exclusively attracted to children. Others are not exclusively attracted to children, but they're also sexually interested in adults. But their main sexual
So basically, it's the ones that's kind of like all over the place, that kind of follows around the idea and the theology of loosely pansexuality. Loosely. I'm not saying it is, loosely. Where you're attracted to a certain age range and age bracket of females, in this case, where you can be attracted to females from the age of 6 to 12 as your base, but you're still attracted to women around your age bracket. Still, it doesn't change anything. And of course, it's going to be broken down by actual sexuality and sexual orientation, whether it be gay, bisexual, or straight. I don't see how it's still a difference when it comes to pedophilia.
sexual interest lies within children. Only if this main sexual interest is given, we talk about pedophilia. The vast majority of all pedophiles are men, about 99%. Within the male population, 1 to 2% are considered to be pedophiles. This translates to about 60 million people worldwide. This is as much as the population of Italy or of South Africa. Therefore, pedophilia is not an irrelevant phenomenon we can't simply ignore. Chances every one of you knows at least one pedophile are higher than that you don't know anyone. We haven't found out yet why pedophilia occurs. There are biological, social, and psychological factors to it. It occurs unrelated to socio-economical status and unrelated to educational level. So generally speaking, anyone could be born a pedophile. It is crucial to understand the difference between pedophilia and child sexual abuse, which is illegal and must always be. Pedophilia is only the sexual preference for pre-adolescent children.
And you see how, like I said earlier, that they're trying to differentiate the difference between someone who's just sexually attracted to children and actual people and adults that sexually abuse children. I mean, I can't make the distinction, but my thing is whether you do it, the action or not, it doesn't define it as the determinist. It to me, at the end of the day, you're still attracted to children, which I deem as a sexual disorder. It doesn't matter if you participate in the action or not. You still like children. Why are we creating a grayscale area on an issue that's mainly already said?
The difference between child sexual abuse and pedophilia becomes very obvious when we look at scientific studies.
The difference between action and non-action. That's the only difference you see.
Think about it for yourself. What do you think? What percentage of child molesters are pedophiles? Have a guess. Is it 20%, 40, 60, maybe even 80%? In fact, scientific studies indicate that only 20 to 30% of all child molesters are pedophiles. The vast majority of perpetrators are not pedophiles, but they're sexually interested in adults. Children can easily become victims.
I'm going to stop the video right there. You can watch the rest of the video. I think it's called Pedophilia is a Natural Way or something like that. I'll put it in my description box. But I make this video again because of the fact of the matter that we need to rear our children in the right direction. There has been so many cases of pedophilia within family members, at school, at churches, at different events that is usually kept under wraps or not said because the child feels uncomfortable with bringing it out to their parents. And with that being said, they suffer in silence. They don't say anything until they get older. And I'm talking about certain adults at that age range. But if we can do the best we can to communicate to our children and communicate to children around us that they are open to speak to us about whatever is on their mind, we can move forward as a society. Now, with this being said, I also want to be said, maybe later on in my YouTube journey, I will make sure to make a video about pedophilia extending into middle school and high school, when it now starts to become a conversation about usually female teachers that decide to have sex with young boys, usually at the age of 13 or 14 years old and into their teenage years. And of course, there are certain situations where principals or male teachers may have sex with female students. And of course, the idea of when a girl gets to a certain age that she may be interested, or a guy that is usually in his late 20s, early 20s, or the starting range of being around the early 20s to maybe the 30s or 40s range, they start to get interested in girls around their early teenage years. And at the peak, probably 15 to 16 years old. But that'll be an issue separate for another day. Otherwise than that, please make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.